Good morning. This is Sarah with the City of Portales. This is a chat with the managers, just a public forum, and we are doing this for the first time. And we encourage everybody to ask questions or bring their concerns to us. And we also have.
Hi, I'm Amber with the county, and we're just excited to be here and hear from some of our residents and constituents on any issues that they might be looking into or any questions they might have on any of our services.
We do open the floor up to anybody that has any questions.
Okay, so she's a little quieter than I am, but we're going to open it up if anybody has any questions for the managers or anything that y'all wanted to bring up.
Yes.
Come on up.
Alrighty. Hey, Mr. Williams, would you join us right quick? Alrighty, I've got an issue that I need to address with the city and with the police department here, Mr. Williams. Apparently, I've been taking. My name's Ryan Ainsworth. I'm on A5 Towing here in town, and apparently, I've been taken off a rotation with my towing service, which not only affects me in the city, but it affects me with the county also, because the dispatch center is run by the same bunch. Apparently, I've been taken off because I bought a new truck, a new wrecker. I do not have my stickers on it as of right now. I've been waiting on Signman Signs to get their printer back up and running. But I did not know I was taken off a rotation until September 1st when I was called out personally by an individual for their wrecked vehicle in front of Eastern. And I want to know, they told me that you took me off a rotation.
Okay.
Why wasn't I notified?
I'm not sure where that lapse came in, but after speaking with the DOT at the port, they said you had everything done. You just had to get your stuff put on the truck to be legal. And we can't participate with illegal business as the city.
But there was no notification saying, hey, Ryan, what's going on?
Well, they said they told you that that's all you had left to do anyway, and we don't regulate that. But you're aware of the process that you needed to follow.
But there was
that's
no
paperwork.
notification or nothing,
Right.
so it's
But when
it's
you run your
almost as
business,
if I feel like this, and he and I have had some words before. Out when Richard's cabinet shop was on fire, I tried to explain that I had some methanol at my storage unit there that was upset. I have a video of it where he's threatened to take me off a rotation before, and he was. We've had the words there, and then to not be notified or have anybody tell me that this is affecting me. Now, I work with the state police, the DOT, I tow vehicles. They've all known that I have a brand new truck. Signman Signs printer has been down. I want to keep my money local here in Portales.
Yes.
I can go up to Clovis and spend my money. They'll get our taxpayer money, which means nothing goes on here in our city. There's no expansion, there's no rebuilding, there's no pay raises, there's no new officers being able to be afforded with no income here. But, you know, a common courtesy of saying, hey, we're going to take you off a rotation,
And
you know,
here's why.
that would have been nice. You know, hey, what's going on, Ryan? No, I go out to a wreck and learn from a patrol officer that I've been taken off a rotation. And it's like, well, how long has it been? Well, we don't know. Do you know when you took me off a rotation?
I don't remember when it was, but it's not the city's obligation to make sure your business is running properly, because the state police told me that if you had a vehicle on your truck, that they would shut you down and take you out of service. So we can't do that to the general public.
See, now on the Public Regulatory Commission rules, I can be called by anybody and tow their vehicle. I can't
That's
be
not
on
what
a
they explained to me at the
rotation.
port. What they explained to me at the port was that you could not do business until all the markings were on your truck, is what they told me. So therefore, we cannot allow you to violate the law And it's, just like here at the sandwich shop, they know the rules. They have to follow the rules. It's not our obligation to make sure that they're doing them right in order to do that. So
It's not your obligation to make somebody follow laws.
But
not our
also, he
ob-
does not answer to you, he answers to
The
the DRC.
Public Regulatory
right,
Commission.
but we cannot make sure, we can't participate in your business by doing that if you don't have it. Now, my understanding is, because I see it on all these other trucks driving around town, they do temporary things, different things like that to put your numbers on there so that you can be identified in case somebody has a complaint or anything else against you.
That
But we
is-
can't, it's just like if we stop an unlicensed driver, we can't allow them to drive off the scene with a citation.
So what Chief is saying is we also have to listen to the PRC. So we were following regulation, and from what I understand is you were not notified, and so we need to address that. And
We need to
press on
address that for
Yes,
sure.
Absolutely.
And there's things like, what was it, the night of the 20th, I got a phone call from a young lady at Eastern. Said, hey, I've got your number. She said, the dispatch told me that they weren't supposed to give your number out, but I've been locked out of my car. Can you come unlock it for me? I'm one of the only companies in town that will come and do that.
We've had customers that have waited for 5 hours on the side of the road because they were told not to give his number out.
Give my number out.
But we can't provide a recommendation.
No, you can't provide a recommendation,
But we can give
if
everybody's
somebody,
number out.
Right, we can
if
give
they
everybody
want to
who they're
personally
in.
request me, they can.
Yes.
And that's nothing that you can do about that. The city or the state, if they, under the Public Regulatory
Yes.
Commission.
We don't do that.
Numbers and regulations state that if somebody wants me,
They personally recommend you.
they
That's-
call for me,
Right.
they can have me come out and do it.
I mean, the best way you do your business is by word of mouth. Anyway.
Exactly.
Yes.
But I rely on working for the city, the county, which is in the same dispatch center.
Yes.
And when they take me off, I'm losing out on the county.
Okay.
I'm losing out on the city. I'm losing out on any type of rotation stuff because your dispatchers have been told not to give my number out. Now that's not fair.
Now, they weren't told not to give your number out. What they do is they're told they cannot provide a specific recommendation. We cannot recommend one business over another.
But can we give out all
Phone
the
numbers?
towing businesses, all the numbers?
We
if somebody
can do
recommends it?
that, or we
If-
can tell them to look it up on their phone because,
that-
with our minimum staff dispatch center, we don't have time to go and research for people.
All the numbers.
There's
You know,
3 numbers.
we're not
It's not a
411.
real hard thing to do. There's ABC, there's A1, and there's A5.
Okay, I didn't know that too.
There's
And
only
then
3
there's all
record
the records
servers.
out of Clovis that come
Now
down
that's
the road.
another issue. You want to call the wreckers out of Clovis down here? Okay, they'll pick our cars up in Roosevelt County and take them back to Clovis. Where does our tax money go?
To Clovis.
You know,
But we don't.
we
but
are
that's-
here in
but
a.
we don't give specific to Portales. We tell them here's what it is, which is why we recommend people do that search on their phone themselves, so that they can make that option themselves. Because just because they get in a crash down here doesn't mean they might not live in Clovis. That's their option to do so.
So if somebody
when it's
calls
on
in-
rotation, where we're not giving the operator
So-
or owner the option to choose because it's towed at our
So if somebody calls
Rotation
in,
is the one with the 3,
With
just
the-
to
Right.
clarify.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
so what you're saying is, if they're from Clovis and they
They can
decide
recommend they can
they
ask for a
want to
record
have
from
C and D from Clovis come down here, we're going to tie your officers up for 30 more minutes waiting on them to come from Clovis down here.
That's their option.
If they
we
rec-
can't
if they
force them
request
to
it,
pick.
like they would you.
We can't force
Okay.
them to pick somebody.
So is that fair to Roosevelt County businesses?
No. So if they call and request him specifically, we can provide
We,
that number.
we provide we contact
Who
whoever they
request.
ask.
Okay.
With the
So-
rotation, which is
So he's
when
being
it's-
told that dispatch is telling
Right.
him that they cannot provide his number, and so we need to address that.
We will address that because I don't know
Okay.
where that came from.
It's also
but
an issue of public safety when the roadway is blocked. I've seen it out there where there's a wreck and we're waiting for somebody from Texas to come after he's already gone an hour south of town.
I've had that
But we
issue
can't-
too with the county is,
but we can't tell these people they have to pick a local record. That is.
but you
that is
have to
illegal.
open your roadways up.
And it's officer safety
I mean,
and
Well, you know,
So what we can do with this is I'm going to meet with not only my dispatch, but the chief and the lieutenants, and we're gonna
I just
resolve
want to
this.
know why I wasn't notified.
Okay, well, I'm not sure why. I think that was a loss in communication, and I do apologize on behalf of the city.
You know,
But-
if that was the case, I would have drove the truck to Lubbock and got stickers put on it. I'm trying to keep my money here in town.
I appreciate that.
You know, we're in a struggling community.
Yes, sir.
We are on the verge of this thing's fixing to go belly up. And I hate it for you. You came into a rat's nest. I'm hoping that you can get this thing turned
Thank you.
around.
I'm gonna
I
do
mean,
my very best.
how many times have y'all notified, you know, Mr. Brunson and his place over there, Mr. Melvin Hightower? You know, you guys have notified them, but I didn't get notified. One of 3 wreckers in town.
I do apologize on behalf of the
And,
city, and I will address this.
You know, with him and I having words before, it made me feel like it's a personal vendetta.
I worked with
And,
Chief
you
for the
know,
last
and-
few months,
and-
and I don't think he ostracized you, but I do apologize that
You know,
feel that
I
way.
think that should have been the first thing, Mr. Ainsworth. It's been brought to our attention. Your numbers aren't on your truck. Can you rectify this within 30 days? Or can you rectify this?
Absolutely.
You know, I understand I've got some competition. One man out there does not like it, does not like either myself or A1 Towing. And it's awful. A1, they called me yesterday. Hey, can you come help me with this wreck? Yep, I'll be right there. I got out there, we helped each other. There is a lot of camaraderie between like C&D Towing in Clovis, A5 and A1. We all work together.
That's very nice.
When it comes to ABC, it's like, you know what, we got to stand back because we don't know where that man's at. And I hate to say that.
Yeah.
I
Well,
think
what
we
we
just need to wrap up here. I mean, I think we've heard
Yeah.
what you said.
And we
so
will
she's
be-
going to address it
yes.
at that level, but we've also got some other ones that are waiting for some comments.
I will address
and
this,
stuff, so-
and somebody will be in contact with you. Just
Yeah.
knowing going forward, do you have your truck with the stickers on it now?
We're waiting our
You're still
turn
waiting.
in line with a sign man because this printer's been down.
Okay.
I'm like 14th or 15th in line to get.
Okay. So
printed.
you're
So I'll just stay off until we get it done.
well. Let me get with my chief and my
I'll-
lieutenants, and we will be contacting you after we have this conversation.
Can I just add one thing?
Yes, ma'am.
With everything going on here, and I understand, yeah, there's rules to be followed, but one other point that I would like to point out is when we had all that rain and the massive flood,
Yeah.
there was one wrecker company out, and it was me and him, and we were out
Till-
soaking wet until 3:30 in the morning, because
You're-
the other guys didn't want to come out.
You know, and we put the time in here. I mean, you can ask all your officers or the county guys. If there's a call out, they can ask you ask them who gets there first.
Okay.
How long does it take us? You know, I'm here local. We're within 10 minutes, 15 minutes.
Well, thank you for
He's
that.
left his kids' ball games through this, and I just think there needs to be a little bit better communication between the other entities, you know, whether it be the PD, the, you know, sheriff's department, the city, the county, whatever. We're all here, one
Absolutely.
good, and I don't think that there's any room for any backbiting.
Absolutely, I absolutely agree.
We
with you.
allow the fire department to come to our yard and practice cutting our cars. You know, that destroys the cars. Yeah, we have to pick them up and take them to the crusher then instead
Right.
of sell parts off of them. But you know, I try to help this community as much as I can.
And also,
And-
you know, as a mother, I wouldn't want my kid being at this college at, you know, midnight, and nobody's gonna help her get into her vehicle.
Right.
Because somebody is mad at somebody else.
Or we don't have our.
I guarantee you, if that was my kid, I would have some things to say.
But-
Absolutely.
I mean, you're dealing with, you know, they could get robbed, they could get raped, they could get killed because they can't get into their vehicle over some petty little issue.
I
Are
can
we
understand your frustration.
Grown-ups?
And
Yeah.
absolutely.
On a
And-
new truck. I mean, I'm just waiting my time.
Okay,
The
well-
Corona deals come in, everybody's slow. Everybody doesn't have.
But we
you
will
know,
address
employees.
this. I guarantee you, we will
These
address
aren't the
this.
mandates that have been set for us, and we're trying to get the letters on there
Right.
as fast as we can.
Right.
So,
So I will
Your
be.
time.
I will
Thank you.
definitely be in contact with you, and I'm sure you have his contact information.
You know,
sure, it's at dispatch.
Okay.
I bet Dispatch has got it. You can ask
But
any of
dispatch
them.
has got it. I will get it. Thank
All
you
right.
guys.
Thank you.
I do have one more issue with you later, so
Okay.
unless you want to talk about it now.
Can we
Let's
give
give some more
some more
time,
time, and then I
if you
will.
wanna hang out.
Yeah, and then if you want to hang out, I will be with you after. Yeah. Does anybody else want to address anything with either the county or the city?
Oh,
We got two.
Oh, no. Sorry. Okay.
One thing we really need in our town is a master plan and a monthly calendar. We need to where we're going in the next 5 years. We need to use the concept called donut economics. The amount of water coming in, the amount of economical housing, the whole thing.
Can I get your name?
David Penry, Penry, and I've been in business 45 years here.
Very nice.
Taught at the university 15 years and ran the SBA Center for the university. Taught marketing finance, and I've developed about 15 plans for the university systems and all that. But we don't know as a business here when St. Helens is going to have a fiesta. We
Okay.
don't know when the games are. We have no idea what Eastern's production is. We used to have a monthly calendar, and we had a few businesses around the side, so we don't know what her hours are.
Okay.
We don't know what the hours of Taco Bell are. If you go to eat at night, you have no idea what's open in this town.
We can
So-
do that.
You see, and it's so easy.
Yes.
And we need a master plan for the town. Where are we going?
Okay.
Well, we have facilities here that are world down that are not open. One is outside of town, that dig and that archaeological area.
Yep.
We're famous for the woolly mammoth. I want to see us build about 6 woolly mammoths, about 200 feet tall, that are walking across the highway aimed towards that archaeological center. And I'd like to see a dig in the back where the kids can come and dig up toys and stuff. And every business in town have a map, give out a different dinosaur. Like here, she would give a T-Rex somewhere else. So when they come into town, they have to go to every business in town to get all the different dinosaurs that they want. But we need a unique selling proposition.
Absolutely.
And we have it. I mean, we have people traveling. I met some people from Japan the other day that were coming to the dig. But then they want to know, well, what else is there to do?
Right.
And also, like, we have a lot of contractors in town, the hotels. We need a little table teepee that tells them all the events to go
Yes.
and all the places they can go eat. The
Well,
contractors
you know-
come into my business, they asked me, said, well, we get in at 11 o'clock at night, where's there to eat?
Right.
And I have no idea what's open anymore.
Well, I have Counselor Lucero here, who is part of economic development, and this is some ideas that I will bring to him.
Okay?
Way to
so-
put you on the spot.
Yeah, but I'm saying, there's no master plan, no, if I had to ask you, when is Landell's open?
I don't know, but I will
You-
find out.
you
and
see what I'm saying?
I like the direction.
Nobody has any idea, and I'd say it would really help us, particularly going into Halloween and stuff. And I don't know if you know it, but it used to be from Halloween to Christmas, we had a free movie every Saturday to bring people into the community.
Yes.
And what we do is we do an ad that costs $200, and we'd have 10 businesses donate 20. And you could come in here and get your free tickets to go,
Wow.
or you could go somewhere else. We had Walt Disney movies, and the kids, if you give them a free ticket to go to the movie,
They're gonna go.
they're going to go.
Yep.
And we have the Yam Theater that's not being used at all.
We have some issues with that, and we're making some repairs. And so
Okay.
as soon as we can get that up and running, we
Sure.
will make a notice of that.
And we work with the chamber, so the chamber is actually the one that, the chamber ambassadors are the ones
Sure.
that do the movies and everything.
Very
so
nice.
These are things that we can share also with Mr. Terry.
Sure.
Yes, yes.
Because
But I
this
mean,
is very much a
I tell you, there'll be a
chamber
lot of people
function,
get behind you if you just have a monthly calendar and a plan.
I like that idea, and
But
I
we
think
have
we
no
can
idea.
coordinate that.
Yeah. And so, but there's no single coordination point anywhere.
Right.
Another thing, of course, potholes.
We are working on that. I do want to make notice that we are down to 3 trash truck drivers without including our supervisor, and so at times we're pulling our crew to help with
I
the
got
solid
you.
waste. But if you know anybody that needs a job, we are hiring.
Sure.
I'm sure the county has lots of openings as well, and we just need people to apply, and we offer great
I
benefits.
got you. I got you.
Do you
We
have
can't find.
specific ones?
Do you have a
in-
specific
like if you have
area?
a
Well,
specific area, or
I
if
live
there's
out
a
there
safety issue
where the
that
old
we-
hospital. I mean, there's some huge one in there. We broke an axle on a trailer the other day.
On 18th Street?
Yes.
Between
Out in
70
front of the Catholic Church.
Okay, that's, oh,
You know what I'm saying?
So Avenue
There's
Four.
some that are,
Okay.
I mean, so deep and you can't, I mean, we go over there with a trailer axle, we broke an axle on that particular one.
So we have a point of contact that takes complaints, and Charlie Smart is our point of contact.
You know, I'm so busy in running my business day to day with not enough
You don't
people.
have time.
We
Right.
don't have time.
When
And I
it's-
have people that come from all over the country. Another thing we need in our trash services, let's put out cardboard dumpsters.
Cardboard dumpsters.
Okay, they make a green dumpster and it has a slot in there, and then you have one trash truck that just does cardboard. That way you don't have to put it in the dump. We're
I
putting
will.
all our cardboard in the dump. And we just had a guy up from the Las Cruces that runs their reclamation. He says there's plenty of grants available. We'll give you the money for the truck. We'll give you the money for all those. know what I'm saying? The big
You're
green
right, right.
dumpsters that go in there. And that way we don't have to throw all our cardboard. Right now, all that cardboard goes into
Very good ideas.
So-
You brought great ideas. Thank you for this.
Oh yeah, but I'm saying the day-to-day business here, we just love it. We just need to. 81% of my business is wholesale from outside of the town.
We need to promote.
People drive from all over to come shop. my
And what
store
is your
here.
business?
I own Quality Sales over here, which is we're like a reclamation center. So like when the hospital runs out of gloves or anything, we carry
You
all
carry
that
it.
kind of product
Very
all
nice.
the time.
Okay.
So when the jail runs out of gloves to handle prisoners, we're the only place that has them. So when the hospital, like Melvina, Express Care and all that,
Yes.
we carry face guards, supplies all the time.
Very nice.
Because we know there's a demand for that.
Right.
And the hospitals and everybody are told only keep a 4 or 5 day supply on hand. Well, that's an opportunity for us because you can't, when you need them, you can't get them.
Very nice.
So we love our business to pieces. But and then the last thing I got for you is robberies.
Okay.
There are so many robberies in this area. These kids ride these bicycles, tell other people, and then they come rob your business.
So are you interested in being on our Crime Stoppers board?
Not particularly.
Because that's what we're lacking
You
too.
know, I used to be on every single board that was in town when I taught at the university. But right now, all we can do, when you only got 3 people running a business, you need 11 employees.
And you're having trouble, I assume, too.
We can't find anybody that's honest, that can pass a drug test.
That wants to work.
That wants
What
to work.
about any of the high schoolers? Would you be willing to offer?
Absolutely. I used to be a DECA teacher, so I can tell you.
Very nice.
We're in Workforce Solutions. I've worked on all those committees. And I ran an SBA office, yes, if we can find the kids.
Very
And we
nice.
train some of them, but I mean, we have been there all the time. Like my latest one told me, so well, what do your parents do there? They said, they smoke dope and drink beer. That's what they do all day long. And then they have no money for them, so they're 15 years old. They
Trying
come
to
work
work.
for us for a little bit. So
Okay.
they have money to, but people don't realize how drastic the situation is here.
No, they don't.
We probably feed 300 a day.
Wow.
Between the lighthouse and Clovis and here, we supply the food to them. There's that many people that are working class mothers and people that are trying to have one job,
Right.
and it's hard to feed everybody, and you can only make $8 or $9 an hour.
Right.
Are you doing it out of your facility or
Yes.
you're just supporting?
Just out of our facility, and then like when we bring in a frozen truck, we have to send a bunch of it to the lighthouse. We don't have capacity,
Right.
so then they give out the meals at the door. You could no longer go inside and cook meals, so we had to pick out the alternative. We just hand out sack lunches to all these people,
Very nice.
and that's the only. And I'd like to see it supported. That's the only drug rehabilitation for women and men in this whole area is the lighthouse, and they do a fabulous job.
Well, thank you.
But you know what I'm saying? They're just not supported enough. So.
Well, we will work on these ideas. They're great,
Sure.
actually. They're really great. Thank you. Like
And I
that.
think it would do good if you would leave your card with every business in town or
Okay.
somebody they can call once in a while. When we have an issue, we don't know who to call.
I will bring cards to businesses.
And when have you ever tried to call the city on their telephone network?
Yes, but I carry a cell phone and I'll give you my direct number. It's on my card.
And it's not. I mean, it's going to be short and simple. You know
That's
what I'm saying?
fine. That's
We've got a
fine.
big issue here. Can we take care of it? If not,
Absolutely.
And we're all big people here. If we can't take care of it right now because we don't have funding or this and that, we'll help you get the funds.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? There are things out there people don't realize. Our alumni here, we have alumni that own the Oakland Raiders. We have alumni here that are president of 3M Company, head of research.
Wow.
We have people here at Los Alamos Laboratories. We've got 20 or 30 of our graduates there that are major department heads. But come help us. They always say, when they come down here for Alumni Day, is there anything we can do for the community? And you know what we say? We don't have anybody to address. So we have some potential here that just...
Well, I will take your
Yes.
advice, and I definitely will be visiting businesses with my cards. Maybe I can bring her and her busy
Sure.
schedule to come with me.
And we'd all just love it because we don't know what's going on half
Right.
the time and all that. But I'm saying, if we get a program together at Christmas, it keeps people shopping here
Yes.
rather than going somewhere
And we
else.
like
The
local.
chamber does a lot of that.
So we
Yeah.
will be getting with Mr. Terry as well on that.
Okay,
So
I
thank
appreciate
you.
that.
All right.
Have a
Really
great day.
appreciate it. You
Thank
too.
you.
Thanks
Welcome.
for coming.
Welcome to the job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I hope you do great and stay a long time.
I that's my goal. Hi.
Hi, I'm Diane Crandall.
You said Crandall?
Crandall.
Okay.
And this is Jean Bundy.
Gene Bundy.
Do you guys represent a business? Or are you just
No,
a
we're just-
citizen?
Just citizens.
concerned citizens. I think this is an awesome idea that you're doing this.
Thank you.
The only bad thing is when you're sitting over there, you can't hear what's going on.
I know.
We're gonna rotate around.
Are we going to
With
be
it-
able to watch it later?
Yes, it's
Yeah,
gonna
okay.
be streamed
That'll
live.
help a lot.
Yeah, it's on Facebook Live, and I'm sure we can add it to our YouTube.
Okay, great.
So,
So
We'll add it to ours.
I've lived in Portales for 8 years. My husband and I moved here and bought a house in 2013 because our son and daughter-in-law and grandkids were here. And we live on the corner of 4th and G.
okay.
And one of the things, my husband drives delivery for AJ, that's our son. His car, like the roads, the streets in this town are just horrifying.
Okay.
And I'm wondering, I guess my question is, can't there be something different than just putting stuff in a hole, packing it down, and then it comes out the first time it rains?
So we have a couple of things we're working on. One is we are getting a plan together, like a master plan to present to council, and that will be made public. And the other option is my public works director over there has some ideas. In front of the detention center, they did an amazing job of that road, and we're looking at doing something along the lines of that. So it lasts longer.
Yeah, because that, I mean,
What we're trying to do right now is fill them now, so we at least take care of the situation, which is a temporary fix. But we are looking at a more
well,
permanent.
and, you know, you're new, right?
Yes,
Are you
ma'am.
fairly new? Are you? I don't remember.
No, I'm with the county. I've been
Yeah,
there
but
for,
you've been doing it
I'm
for
starting
quite
my
a while?
8th year.
Okay, so you've been doing it as long as I've lived here. And I know you're Amber?
Sarah, this is
Oh, you're
Amber.
Sarah, this is Amber. Okay, sorry.
No, you're good.
But anyway, it's kind of been like that since we've been here, so that's 8 years. So, you know, and the thing is, like, you leave the county or you leave the town and then the roads are hit, like where you go somewhere else. So it just seems like there's got to be a better solution, and you said
We have,
you're working on it.
yes,
so-
we do, and
That's
Mr.
great.
Deshay is very good at the roads and the situations, and he's actually the one that brought up the idea to follow how the one in front of the detention center was going, because that is an excellent road. That's probably
So
It's just cost. It's
I
very
know
costly
it is,
anytime. we
but
do
in the
this.
long run, it's worth it
Yes.
to me. I mean, it seems like it.
so you may see it one road at a time, but that is
Well-
going to be on our plan.
Good.
Yes.
And
Along
very
those
likely,
lines-
it'll be like main roads as you work out.
Yeah,
we'll
I
start
know
with
that's what
arterial.
we had to do with the county is you work on those arterial roads that have the
Right,
most
most
amount of
traffic.
traffic, and then you work your way out.
You know, I mean, I'm sure all the semi trucks that go down Avenue G or 4th Street or whatever, they're not helping.
No.
And I don't know what that's all about. And that's, I mean, I guess that's a,
It's an ordinance issue that we are looking into. We're going to develop an ordinance that takes care of the weight rate that
Yeah.
goes down those residential roads and whatnot. So when we do redo everything, we are going to take into consideration the traffic flow for that area.
good. That's good. Along those lines, oh,
While
go
we're
ahead.
talking about that, hadn't thought about this until just now. When they redid the highways through town, there was a proposal to do a truck bypass, to go out, what was it, South Roosevelt Road 6, over somewhere east and then back. And the businesses in town, if my memory serves, said, oh my God, you can't take the trucks off the downtown streets because it'll kill the business. How many semis do you see parked downtown?
Yeah, that stop.
Shopping in business. And how many semis go through town every day?
Oh,
Thousands.
Yes.
Thousands.
yes.
Why? Why couldn't we have done?
I didn't know about that.
Go back and look.
I'm gonna find
because
out.
there was a bunch of us met with the state engineer and really pushed for a bypass.
Okay.
And man,
I will go and look
like,
into-
yeah, occasionally you see one stopped at All Sips or at McDonald's, but not very. What,
I don't
3
see
a
a
day?
lot. Yeah, I don't
3
see
a
a
day,
whole lot.
4 a day.
Gary delivers sometimes to some truck drivers that are like out of town.
Right.
They'll call and he'll deliver to them in their truck, and they're sitting in
Yeah.
their truck or whatever. But
Yeah, they could do
still,
that on
there's
the truck
that's
bypass.
the idea.
Yeah.
And that would save first and second, going through town.
Yeah.
I live on South Avenue O, and oh man, right there
That's
by
the one that
St.
goes in front of the church.
Okay, so I have that written down, the gentleman before you had mentioned that.
Mackerel Avenue O, and when they redid 18th, that stretch from O to
70.
down. No, 18th Street?
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
the
down
one
to-
from O halfway to I or whatever is
Right,
really
yeah.
nice. The city redid that one.
That's worse than it was before. Have you driven down it?
Yeah, the new one from
Yeah.
O to like the state streets is actually
Right.
in really good shape. It's from the state streets to the intersection in I.
It's
that I
better
think is
after you
rough.
get off the State Street. Because I drive that way a lot because I just live around the corner there. And, oh my gosh, it was actually better. And that intersection at O and 18th has lots of holes. O is just full of holes.
Well, I have it on our list of
Yeah,
of
it's right there
roads.
at the 3rd 17th Street, you know, right behind the old broadcast center. There's just some huge holes there. And it's fun to watch people dodging where the university employees park along O, and then with the holes, and when two cars are coming towards each other, trying to avoid hitting each other without hitting the holes
Right.
that are
They're
half the
huge.
size of this table.
We do have those on our list. I was explaining to the gentleman before you that we are down to 3 trash truck drivers right now, not including our supervisor. So we're packing the pool. But if y'all know anybody looking for employment, we have very good benefits. We pay very well, and that's part of our fight right now. Everybody is fighting to get employees, but we are addressing it as best as we can.
If you get a chance, look at the the Santa Fe New Mexican, the political cartoon on Saturday. Oh my gosh.
I'll have to check it out.
Two little businesses with help wanted signs and a wall with 1,000 people behind it. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway,
We also have Mr. Smart who takes any sort of complaints if you have complaints on your roads or anything else with the city, and then he makes sure that I know about them directly. So
Mr. Smart.
Yes, Charlie Smart.
Does he have a direct number?
He does. I don't have it on me,
It's probably on the website though.
but it
the
is on
city
our website.
Okay.
Yeah, and we do have a flyer on our Facebook that has the number on it as well.
your next thing.
Well, you know, along those lines, the lighting on streets. Okay, so last week or a couple weeks ago, it was raining and it was at night, and I'm not young anymore, and so I was driving home, and I'm very familiar with the area. I almost missed the turn because it was so dark and raining. I couldn't even see where the road was.
Do you remember where?
Yes, off of University. Okay, so University goes like that, and Avenue G goes like that, and Avenue H, and then there's a little like thing like that that goes over to 4th, because I live right there, and I was coming on University. I wanted to turn right there on that little diagonal,
Yeah, in front
and
of
I
the
almost
Nazarene
missed
Church.
it. Yes, and I was like, God, you know, that's dangerous because the lighting is not good. I don't even know if there's a light there that just burned out or what, but
We can get that checked into.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then street signs.
So we are working on that. We know we have a problem because our council members have brought that to us.
Okay.
And the problem is that the way they're rated, the wind's just breaking them and picking them up. I literally left my house the other day, and there was our street sign in the neighbor's yard for Lime Street, and we're nowhere near Lime Street.
The whole pole and everything.
It was this part of it. It was
What?
laying in the neighbor's
The
yard.
top bracket where
Yeah.
the signs are.
I think that they probably found it and knew one of us would pick it up
Yeah.
because I drive my city car home, and I saw it, so I
But
picked
it
it up.
like broke in half. Like
It broke right at it broke right at the sign. So they're not. You can't put them too heavy, and you can't put them heavy enough for the wind to not.
Maybe they
bust
need to
it.
go this way with the street, and then or some kind of square
There's
or
actually
something like
regulations
that.
on what size
What
they have to
size,
be,
lettering.
reflector.
Yeah.
There's always a regulation.
Is that a state
for every
regulation or
Yes.
whatever? Okay.
If there's
Yeah.
a required retro reflectivity, they have to be a certain size, they have to be
Certain
a certain
font, all that.
direction,
Yep.
and it has to be easily read because it's all about getting 911 to
Oh,
those locations.
yeah. But the
So-
thing is, if there's no sign, then it's really going to affect.
Right, and
Well, that's where our dispatch works really closely. So, like, they're very well versed and they're to be versed on all of the roads out in the county as well as in the city, so that they can direct them there if there are any questions. And a lot of times that's where, like, our volunteer firefighters are aware, our paid, everyone just gets to know the town.
The-
Part of it, I'm sure, is Santa Fe doesn't realize when.
yeah.
Because I spend a lot of time in Santa Fe. My mother-in-law's there, and talking to the neighbors. We still have a house there and stuff, where we go and stay. and they'll complain about how windy it is. I'm like, it's
They
not
don't
even,
get it.
this is not even a breeze. And they're
I have
like, "Oh,
Mr.
the
Smart's
wind is
number for
crazy."
you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's 575
I'm sure that's part of it.
359 4814.
Thank you.
And he takes all of our complaints and makes sure they get taken care
Okay. Kids activities. Teenagers and kids in this town have nothing to do, it seems like to me. And I know I'm past that age, but I have grandchildren, and the pool was closed all summer.
of. So that needed to be taken care of with repairs, and due to COVID, it was not a priority when everything else was. But that will be open by next year. We did just recently announce that will be having an Explorers program, which is for kids 14 and older.
You announced it where though?
Well, we've had it on our Facebook, and we announced it at the Public Safety Day Saturday.
Okay.
And
Because
so
people, that's part of it too. Like, how do people find out?
we do a lot of advertising on Facebook, our websites, by word of mouth,
Not everybody
flyers
knows.
in front of our buildings. And I think we have some signs we're working on that are in our city that we are needing to get repaired. Banners.
Yeah, those, because
banners
those are good,
too.
I think.
Yes.
People see those.
I've seen this one right here. This one's
This
very
one over
good.
here is out. It's been damaged by the wind, or actually got hit by a truck.
no.
And so there's only one that
Okay.
strings.
But
now.
those are a good idea, I think. Those signs.
Very
those
good.
banners.
And those are up to the individual event, so those signs cost
They
money.
change-
And
yeah, they do.
each time somebody has an event, then they pay purchase for that signage banner to be
And now,
hung
do they
across the
get
street.
charged to put the sign up? Okay. And who would be the contact for
Sign
that?
man signs? Yeah.
Timing.
Okay.
And then one last thing, and then I'll let you go.
And then I have
You're good.
The trash. Okay, so my son isn't disabled. My younger son, he's disabled. He's mentally disabled. He lives in a little, kind of a dumpy little apartment over behind Dollar General. But he's 32. It's the first place he's ever lived by himself, and he's so proud of it. And he keeps it so clean. But then he walks out his front door, and right there is the dumpster with just junk piled everywhere. One day I drove over there. There were 8 mattresses piled. I took pictures. Piled one on top of the other. Just people just throw stuff. And I know that there's like maybe every 3 months that truck comes and takes all that junk.
Right.
But does it seem like it could maybe be more often? I mean,
We
there's
could.
so many apartment buildings and there's so many things
Right.
going on there that people just throw their junk there.
And we just need the staffing. The other thing is that I'm working with the county manager so we can figure out a way that we can not only help the city but the county as well. And
Because
so,
ultimately, I mean, you bring up a good point, but it's not the city or the county's responsibility to have to pick up mattresses or old couches or
No,
tires or
I
anything
agree,
else. People are
but
doing
people
illegal
do it.
dumping.
That's right.
And we're
Yeah.
fighting a
losing
It's
It's a
battle.
losing
Epic
battle because how
problem.
will you ever know who did it? Who's
We-
going
we
to be
don't.
there at 1 o'clock in the morning when
Right.
they come and dump them?
No.
Nobody.
But we do have our convenience center open, and the
Yes.
city residents can dump for free, and we are working on a county solution. And when that's ready, we will make an announcement on
And
that.
you know, if my husband had a truck, we'd be over there taking it all there, but we don't.
Right.
And that's part of it too. I mean, people don't have the means or the whatever it is, the ability to take it. So
Right.
I get that it's really not your responsibility, but then like whose is it?
Well, it's hard. It ultimately becomes ours, but it's another unfunded mandate in that sense
Yeah.
because we're all struggling. So we don't have trash services in the county. County residents
Have to
procure
take
their
it
own
too,
trash
yeah.
services. I have a dump truck that drives
Yeah.
by my house once a week, picks up the trash, and then we bring it into the convenience center. It's about $4 for the entire back of a bed of a pickup. I mean, it's not cost
No, I
prohibitive.
know
People
it's
can
not.
pay
But
for the
some
dumping
people
that
don't
needs to be
have
happening.
even a vehicle to
But
do it.
in
That's the
those
thing.
cases, there needs to be, that's where you could call, make arrangements. Instead, we're literally finding people with addresses on North Avenue A or North Avenue something that drive
No,
10
I
miles
know.
out in the county and dump their household trash.
Right.
And it's like,
That's
you're
true.
going to have a dumpster right there by your house and you've got a convenience center right there. Like you're spending more time and resources going out and dumping illegally than you would here.
Just taking it for a few
Right,
dollars. to
and
the
who
convenience
knows
center.
what is the freaking purpose of them doing? I don't get why people do that. Like,
don't know.
what is that?
We haven't
But-
figured that
No,
out.
I know.
Maybe if
we
we
never
could, there would be
will.
a
I don't
solution.
think. I don't think we'll ever figure it out.
Right.
But we
But-
definitely need the public's help on this. So
Yes, we do.
anything
Okay.
that anyone can do, just utilizing
ideas
social
or
media,
helping your
utilizing
neighbor.
word of mouth. Yeah,
Well,
Yeah.
see, when we
All
do
of the
that, my
things that are
husband and I do
available.
that, but that's just like one person.
Right.
He cleans up around the
This
dumpster.
needs
We're
to be
thinking of painting,
community.
you know, that kind of stuff. And if I see people come and dump, I always go out and say, just put it in and close the lid. I don't care if you come here and put it in my dumpster. It's not my dumpster.
Yeah, we just need to.
But
We want to.
places like where Joe lives, it's just horrifying. I wish I had pictures, but it's just horrifying. It's
But we just need
horrifying.
residents to take more pride in our
Yeah.
communities and help us all work
Right.
together to keep things clean. I mean, the city has a fantastic resource in the convenience center. It's there. It's open daily on the
And they take
afternoons. I mean, there's
recycles
things
now.
that are
I mean, that's a
yeah.
really great thing.
Right.
You
But
know?
the problem is it becomes a safety hazard for a lot of us. I can assure you, even out in the county, we will have to go try to pick up mattresses,
Oh, I know.
couches, whatever.
Who
And
knows
after
what
they've
else is
been
in
rained
there.
on and everything else, I mean, we're having to take heavy equipment because at that point,
And
our
it's a
staff
hazard
can't
as
do
well.
it. And we're having to pull staff. So like she explained, she only has 3 track drivers for the trash. Then you have to pull from other places. The county has to do the same thing. We have to pull from our road department, and we literally make trips around town every quarter or more frequently just to pick up people's illegal dumping. So we definitely need people to work together. The county, within the county, the commission has put forward a resolution. We did it, I think, back in 2018. It's been there for several years, and we offered a $500 reward. So if you see somebody dumping illegally and you report that to law enforcement and leads to the successful arrest, conviction, like we get to hold them accountable for their illegal dumping, then there's a $500 reward out there for that, and that's been ongoing for many years.
Have you ever given the reward?
We have not at this
See,
point.
you know why? Because the people that do it when they know nobody's going to see them.
Well, and people need to say something.
Yeah,
It's that
that's-
whole,
I
if you
agree
see
with that.
something, you say
Totally
something.
agree
And
with
I think
that.
sometimes we either could pay more attention or we could go ahead and report when we see something that's
You're
not.
talking to the big mouth of. So if I saw
No.
somebody, I'd be calling you. But
No, you know
that's the
there's a
thing, it's
reward.
Really hard.
Well, we need help.
Yes,
I
and
mean-
if you guys are interested in being on the Crime Stoppers, we are looking for board members.
Oh,
So you can reach out to the police department or the city, and we can get you on that because we have no board members. I think Miss Darla is the only one right now.
It's in a rebuilding, but it's a great community organization. They partnered with us and also offered a $500 reward, so we could, both of us together made it about $1,000. But Crime Stoppers is a fantastic organization. It's just in a rebuilding mode right now, so we're
Yeah.
definitely going to need some help from some community volunteers.
so you said contact the police department?
Right, or actually your DWI coordinator, Miss Darla, or the
Darla.
city.
Darla Reed.
Okay.
And I'm going to have to find her because we moved her office.
Well,
The other thing I have, my wife works for Eastern, and we travel a lot. She does a program where she delivers classes around the state, from Lee County to San Juan County. We've been to Union County. We've been to a lot of small communities, and I mean, you go to Lovington, they have so much stuff. Yeah, they're right in the middle of the oil patch. You go to Hobbs, they have some. We were in Eunice last week. Eunice has more than Portales has.
We are working on that. I have a good resource with Mr. Lucero, and we are going to be working on that. That's going to be in our plans. They brought me in to make some changes, and that's my goals. And I have a lot of support with the county manager, and I think we could do great things for our community.
Yeah, you know, what was it, 3, 4, 5 years ago when that petition went around, what would you like to see? And all these people filled out this form, oh, we'd like the theater and blah, 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 bowling alley and all.
nothing.
Here we are.
Very nice.
Still not here.
Well,
You have to find private entities, though, that are willing
come in.
to be able to invest and come into our community.
Yes.
And so those things, I mean, you saw with the hotel over here, a beautiful example, but that was years and years in the works. So those are all things that just take so much
Just so you know, I've
time.
been here since '67.
Right, so you've
I've
seen,
When I came as a student, there were 2 bowling alleys, there was a roller rink, there were 2
Movie
theaters.
theater.
You know,
but traveling wasn't as accessible. There wasn't as many. Now you have a lot of community leading, and so we've got to find ways to keep them in our community because now it's so easy to go to Lubbock or Amarillo or Clovis
But
or
see, if it
anything
was all
like
here,
that.
you
So-
wouldn't feel that need all the time. And a lot of these things that people have been talking about will help, I think, businesses to want to be here.
Yes.
You know?
And one of the things they take into consideration is the population size. And so it's hard to convince them that they'll be as successful, but we are working on ways to do that. The economic development, they brought in a program that helps see what the needs of the community are, what would be best suited in the community, and so that's something that's in the works right now.
Okay, good. Good to hear that at least you guys are there.
Well,
So,
and these
you know
things
what I
are in the
mean?
paper, but I think it's sometimes so hard for people to, like, they may not see it in the
Keep
paper,
track
they may
of
not see the
everything,
story, because
yeah.
there's been several stories about the Retail Strategies Group that Economic Development has brought in, or we'll have events and we'll put them in the paper, or we'll send them out to things. But there's also a limit, we can send out a public announcement or a press release or something, but we also have to work with the media, and they may or may not,
So what you want,
they
or
don't
whatever.
necessarily share what our vision is,
Right.
and they have a limitation because they're to be objective too. So just because we send out a press release doesn't mean it's a story in their eyes. So we're always looking for new creative ways to get our messaging out because we'll send out through the chamber. We have big email lists, so anytime we have any public notices, it goes out to a wide array within. And the city and the county are really good when the city sends out something, the county will forward, and vice versa. So we try to hit as many as we can. But again, we have some great resources. We have our local paper, we have the Roosevelt Review, we have the local radio station, so we have some great media. But I think we're always going to face a challenge of there's just some people, like we can deliver it as many ways as we can, but sometimes it's up to the others, the residents that are out there to be able to receive the messaging,
Yeah.
And this was another creative idea that we thought we could get information out there as well.
This was Sarah's brainstorm. She's on it.
Well, good.
I did not reinvent the wheel. I got it from somebody else.
That's okay. That's how some of them.
We just want to try something different.
Yeah, good. Well, good for you. Thank you.
Thank you
thank
guys.
y'all
Thanks for
Appreciate it.
listening. I hope you do this again. This
Yes,
is a
we
great
will be,
idea.
but we will be rotating businesses.
Okay.
So we can show our support to the businesses in the
Good.
community as well.
Good
Yeah.
idea.
Thank y'all for
you.
coming out.
Thank you.
Sure. I'm going to call that crowd stop listening.
Okay, good. And I have Darla's number for you. Okay, so it's 226
Okay.
5237.
That's 575, right?
Yes.
37.
Yes, she's housed over at the law enforcement complex.
Okay, Darla Reed. Great.
Does anybody
Thank
have
you.
anything else they'd like to come up and talk about?
This is fun, but I
It
kind of
is.
wish we could
I
hear
was gonna say, I think
everybody's
it's
stuff.
hard. We're gonna have to work on the sound.
Yes, we will be working on more creative ways
But we
ways to do
are
our sound.
also recording, and it'll be on to be able to play back on the city and the county. Like we'll have links to that. Your hair looks great.
It does.
Thank you.
It's
Thank
lovely.
you very, very much. I just have a couple questions.
Can I ask your name?
Paula Grady?
And do you have a business?
No.
Okay. Just a
Superstar
citizen?
volunteer.
Great.
Thanks, Amber. The yam.
Okay.
What's going on with the yam?
So we have some roof repairs that need to be done.
Okay.
We have a claim into the insurance that actually has been going on for a little over a year. And so
Yes.
that's why there's been a delay. But we actually met with them last week, and so we see a light at the end of that tunnel.
Okay, no, that's fantastic. I'm curious also, I volunteer, like Amber said, a lot with the youth at Roosevelt County 4-H, but I'm also a member of the Portales Creative Group.
Oh.
And we do a lot of different art and creative things around the community. When Main Street was still an entity that we had, we utilized the YAM a lot for community events, things of that nature. And also with 4-H, we've utilized the YAM as well during different community things. So I was just curious. I know that you guys are doing all the repair work and different things.
We're almost done.
Getting there at the fairgrounds, which is fantastic. But I was curious about what is the usage of the YAM going to look like in the future, because it's been a little, with the previous city manager and different things, obviously we had a small pandemic kind of throw a stick into the spokes of our universe. But it's going forward with you with the city in charge of the what's the access going to be like for?
It's going to be good. I know the council supports renting that out and getting venues in and organizations like that. And so we will be renting it out as soon as the repairs are done and it's safe to have people in the building.
Okay. No, that's good to know.
And Melissa with our planning and zoning, her and Donna, they're the ones that rent the buildings out. So they'll be the point of contact when we get it all up.
Okay.
And it will continue on. So the way that the anti-donation works is if it's another government-to-government entity. So like with 4-H, because it's through New Mexico State University, the extension office and everything.
Right.
Like with the Jake Lopez and everything, we
Yes.
provide those. We're able to do that. Just
Okay.
like with City League, they come in. We did a lot of renovations at the Jake Lopez building. You know, we refinished
Yes.
the floor.
Which
just
is
taking out
wonderful.
that door in the back. Our maintenance guys, Gary and Anthony were just incredible.
Oh my gosh,
And so
it's
just
so
the
much
noise and the
cooler
sound,
in
and
there.
yes, and we put in the ACs. The
Yes.
commission really invested a lot of money and
Definitely.
resources into that, but we were also having to use it as a commission chamber for a period
Right,
of time.
right,
so
right.
it worked well together that way.
For
But
sure.
we get to utilize those resources because again, our community is very small.
Yes.
And
Yes.
it's not always easy to have another building or another facility, and so those are things that I think we get to work
Oh,
together
for sure,
on.
for
You know,
sure.
to support, because we want to support our youth too, and we love having them come over and run basketball practice or whatever they need to do.
Right, definitely. Well, and that was sort of part of the reason why I was asking. I'm the leader of the Rodeo and Show 4-H Club, which we have grown. Part of the reason we have grown is because we have so many more active members, and as things are picking back up, which is fantastic, but also some of our smaller 4-H clubs in the rural area, we've lost some 4-H leaders, and so the town clubs have absorbed the kids that, which are your kids in the Hustlers? So, the McAllister room we're kind of outgrowing it, and we don't have it. So are we going to be able to use the Jake Lopez? Because my group is getting a little big. Am I going to be able to use that space a little? Because if not, I was going to see, because I know the Hustlers used to meet at the YAM prior to
And we
COVID
have
and the
options, so I think we
Well,
could.
especially while y'all are getting a roof fixed.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
So it's definitely, so the McAllister room's a little room off of the Jake Lopez. I can't show you. Then the Jake Lopez is a huge gymnasium. So the YAM is kind of in between sides, because I know
It
they
is.
use the meeting room, you know, kind of around the corner there.
Right,
So
right.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. And we've had the 4-H dances, you know, and hopefully as the year goes on, usually in the spring we like to have, you know, a family fun night for 4-H, or we have it, you know, do some dances, because back in the day we used to have 4-H dances, gosh, monthly, and you know, I like to be able to do those
all
things
about the
again.
kids,
and
right?
get these-
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's something
exactly,
good.
because
Yeah.
they need it.
between the Memorial Building and the Jake Lopez building, we do.
I think we have options, so,
Definitely,
yeah.
definitely. So I was just curious about that. And Crystal Pritchett, she works at Steinman. She's working this morning, but I was curious about that for our creative group. You know, we used to have art shows and, you know, different things.
One
and
of the
it
things
would
that
be-
I have talked to council about was possibly doing murals on our building in the square. What brings people here? They talk about the square, and if we had beautiful murals like downtown Gallup
Yes.
does, I think it would be beneficial to the community.
And I think your group has done some of that. Like, have y'all been the ones that like put up the display and some of the empty storefronts
Yes,
and everything?
yes, yeah,
So
yeah.
those are great. Kudos
Yeah.
to your team, because we
Thank
can't
you.
do I mean, you know, we're very
Oh, I
limited
know.
in what we can do and our resources like everyone else. So it's
Exactly.
great volunteers like y'all
Yeah.
that can go out and help make this more beautiful. And
A fun-
right now, unfortunately, we're dealing with a few vacancies around the square, but
Yes.
if there's something that's in those windows that we can do,
Right, right.
those are fantastic. I mean, that takes the focus away from the vacant business and
Yes.
it puts it on, hey, man, that's a conversation
Well, I'm
starter.
glad that you
something. I mean, it's
got
great.
that. You did that at the Valley Furniture.
Yes.
Gosh, it was this time last year. It was
Yeah.
October of last year we did that,
Very
and then and it worked out really fantastic.
This would be great to see more permanent murals maybe and stuff on the windows on the vacant buildings. We could get a hold of
For
business
sure.
owners and whatnot, but it would
sure.
bring a good light to our downtown.
Definitely, and highlight that we do have such a creative.
Well, we have, I was gonna say, we have a lot of artists, a lot of local
We
artists
do,
that
and
are
we have
wanting
an
to put their
art
stuff out
college
there.
here. You know,
Right.
that's one of their specialties. So
That'd be very nice, yes.
For sure, definitely.
Well, that's great.
Good.
Well-
Well, it's nice to meet you.
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
excited going forward that we'll be able to do some fun things.
Yes.
And all of that stuff. So yeah, it's good.
Great.
Thank you guys.
Thank you for all you
doing
do.
this. Oh
Yes,
no,
thank
thank you
you.
guys, and I appreciate appreciate you guys taking counsel. Next time that we do a meeting, it'd be cool if like we had a loudspeaker so we could hear.
We are
That
going
would
to
be
change
cool.
venues each meeting.
Okay.
And we will definitely be working on
Okay.
sound so everybody can be included.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
This is a learning process.
Yeah.
It is. It is. No, that's fantastic. That is fantastic.
But you can go back and watch it. So we're really
Okay.
excited
Yeah.
about that.
Okay.
We'll have it where you can see it both on the city and the county website.
Perfect.
We'll have it on our YouTube channel. and
Perfect.
stuff.
Wonderful. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Is there
Angie,
anybody
did
else?
you have something? Or are you just over there hanging out? Okay, can you hear us? Kind of? Oh.
We will be working on the sound, but it will be on our Facebook Live, on our websites, on our YouTube pages as well when we're done.
I just found out this recently, just this morning. It's just a quick question. I don't need to go over it. The kitchen at the Memorial Building. Why is it closed right now?
I'll let our Public Works Director talk to you about that since he's conveniently here.
Why is that?
Because we have electrical issues with the stoves and also with the circuits.
Okay.
So
Okay.
we're closing that off, we're also changing the electrical circuits over there, popping the breakers because of the way over those.
So it is a safety issue.
Can't be open.
The kitchen won't be coming back.
Not at all. Sorry about that. All right.
Yeah, it's something, when we started looking into why the circuits were breaking, or tripping all the time, we decided to go ahead and look at that too. And notice that it's just, we're just asking the building to do way too much of these old stoves or,
On the side note, though, in trying to help shift some of that, we are enhancing the kitchen over at the Jake Lopez so that if you have something that you need to utilize and it can't work at the Memorial Building or something like that, we've moved in some household appliances that aren't going to be too much to overload our building over there and worked on the electrical as well. So hopefully between the two entities, we've kind of got a little bit of a venue
Yes.
to fit whatever needs there are. And then there's also private venues. You know, there's several rentals around town and there's a new one going up outside of town. I think that we've all been anxiously watching and everything. So we're excited to see some of those develop too.
Mr. Lucero, would you like to say
Yeah,
anything?
anything you wanted to add? You've
been quiet.
I do have one question, and there's a public perception that the county and the city don't get along, to some degree. Have you heard that, and what are you doing to address it?
I've heard it through the rumor mill, but I don't see it when I talk to Miss Amber, and that's why we agreed to do this, so we could show the public that we are willing to work together. Our goals are to meet little by little with different issues and address them as best as we can. We had a very good meeting on detention the other day, and I think it's going in the right direction.
Yeah, and I think the other challenge is sometimes, you know, perception all starts with one person maybe not having the full story or some misinformation. I know that the city and county work closely together. We've tried to assist each other with road issues or trash issues or any kind of drainage things. I know we worked together on a project about that before. So I think it's just important that they see more of us out there, and there's things that I think we'll be able to potentially take back and look at within our commissions and our council. And we've always talked about trying to do some kind of joint meeting with the two governing bodies. And I feel like that's much closer to fruition now with Sarah and I talking. So I think some of those things will help as well. Just being able to really facilitate open dialogue. It is a challenge when you work with two government entities and two governing bodies, and the rules around making sure your public meetings and everything that you're following. So just making sure we have those things in place. But we've had a great relationship with the city for years. It's not to say that there won't be little disagreements along the way within departments or something, but I mean, overall, it's been very successful. I felt like this entire time, and obviously Sarah has a great open door policy too, so it's been a great continuum and building.
Yes, and I think we work well together. She's been a great resource to me being new to this area, and I think that's important when you are new to an area, is to have an ally like that.
Perfect.
Good question.
Yes, thank you. Does anybody else have anything?
Brian's got one more.
One more thing.
Okay.
Alrighty.
Did you want to come join?
Yeah.
She can't hear back there.
I'm also in the water well business. And so this is stuff about your city water well field out here north of town.
Okay.
Okay. I have always wanted to be in the loop on rebuilding the field or working the field. I've never seen a contract issued by the city as for repair or for new drilling. I know you drilled a new well last year, or it might have been this year. No, it was last year. Anyway, there was no bid put out for the job. There's been no bids put out for maintenance on the well field. And I'm just wondering when that's going to come back about, or when that bid's going to open up.
John, would you like to join us?
Sure.
He has more history on the well fields than I
Yeah.
do. I have a great team they're always willing to step in and help me out with some of this stuff. He's talking about our well fields. He does water well services as well, and he wants to know if we're going to go out for bid for services on our water wells.
We did. We opened the JOC contracting up a year ago, and we only had 2 other people that applied for it. And the time before that, when we opened it up, we had 2 that applied for it as well, and we put both of them. Everybody that's actually that submitted for that, we put them on our JOC contract. So I don't remember seeing yours.
No,
in
I never seen a bid.
We
open up
released,
here.
it's not a bid. We opened up this thing, it's called job order contracting. We sent out invitations for proposals, and I want to say it was a year ago, the last time we did it. So that went out for well field service, skating improvements, electrical, HVAC, construction, plumbing.
How do I get on that list?
If you're on our vendors list, then you would have gotten that.
Are you on state contractor or CES or anything like that?
I think I am.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what's your company's name?
What's funny is I've been here all my life. Ryan's Water Service.
Okay, that I haven't seen that one come across any of our stuff. And as far as being on our vendors list, I don't believe I've seen that on our vendors list either.
See, and that's something that the city really needs to work on. Why don't we offer stuff to our locals?
John's very good about.
We did.
You know, I've been a driller in Roosevelt County for 15 years.
When we opened up the job order
I mean-
contracting, we did advertise that, and I think we advertised that in the paper as well.
Usually.
And I think we also put it on our website. We didn't have as large a response to it this last time as we did the first time.
Apparently, it didn't get out good enough. I mean,
Well, we had people from Albuquerque that did apply for it as well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we did advertise it, but to say that we walked over to each one of the local businesses and hand delivered it to them.
Well,
No,
you
we
know,
didn't do that.
But to also add what John's saying, so I had, like, I'm certified in procurement. It's part of our thing that we have to do. Procurement laws are very, very specific in our regulations. So you cannot show any kind of favoritism.
Yeah.
You cannot show, like, there are specific laws, like when you put it out. So it's not a press release or anything else. It's here's a bid, and you put it on
So
your
contractors
website.
are supposed to search.
Right,
when
and
is
if
it,
you want
when
to
is
be
it going
on-
to be back open, and I'll research?
That I don't know about for the city, but I would tell you, you should reach out to a procurement
I will.
officer, and they can put you on the vendor list like he's talking about, so that when things come open, like you say, okay, I'm interested in this, this, and this, or I just want to know anytime any bid comes open, then there's like an email exchange that goes out. We do that, so like trucking industries that may want to bid, like when we put out our trucking bid, they'll let us know, and then when we have a bid that goes out, we send an email or a notification to each one of those companies. 'Cause you
Charlene
have
is
to
our
track it.
procurement officer. So if you reach out to Charlene, yes,
Okay.
she's our procurement officer, and you can ask her to be put on the vendor list.
When do you think that bid's going to be back open?
Well, it's actually not a bid. It's our job order contracting, and it's a way for you to get, you don't actually make a bid, you put in your qualifications and the type of work that you're capable of doing, those kind of things, and then we select, and basically what it comes down to is it's a list of people that we will turn around, and we've already got
So you
most of the
personally
procurement
select
done.
them?
It's a
not
committee.
An actual
No,
bid.
the city selects it through a
Yeah.
committee. But we probably won't be opening those back up we typically do those contracts for 4 years.
So in 3 years, you'll open.
It's around 3% of that.
Okay.
But get on
There
our
may be
vendor
other things
list.
in between.
Make
Right.
sure you're on state contract, because those things, they definitely help with procurement.
I also noticed that whenever were you on the list when we went out for contractors for our latest round with the work for the Water Trust Board?
For the what?
For the Water Trust Board, when we released that bid?
I've never seen any of that, so no.
Okay, those always go out, when we put those out, they're always advertised. and we have the invitation to bid. It goes into our local, and sometimes it goes into the Albuquerque Journal. We just opened one the last 4 months. I don't believe I saw you.
So now that we don't have a newspaper being delivered to us, and now I don't get the Albuquerque News Journal.
Well, we release it in the local paper.
Right.
And
Well, I don't receive a local paper.
well,
or I
that's,
would.
there's really, like she said, when it comes to procurement rules,
We can't
we
reach out.
can't just reach out to anybody. We have to put it out in a certain way.
And you also
did-
advertise on your website?
I think it was on the website. I'd have to go back.
And so when we publish it, we have to get the publisher comment, they have to notarize it, sign it, send it back to us.
Right.
See, there's other local well guys, Clovis, myself, you know, we're in Clovis, in Portales,
Right.
Elida, Dora. We are all here. I mean, we do this for a living.
And we do prefer
And we
local.
we would love to get on there. I mean, David Zamora has been trying to get on this deal for a long time. I don't know if he's been on your deal or not, but you know, he's quite a large contractor. We work hand in hand together.
I would say, you know, contact the city, get on the vendor list, and that way we have that listing.
Right.
Because the risk is with procurement rules, if they reached out to 90% of them, but then missed 10, then they could be in trouble because it's like, well, you showed favoritism. You reached out to Ryan and this guy and this guy, but you didn't reach out to me and you didn't tell me about it. And so again, that's state law, it's state statute.
Yeah.
And it's a whole fun section. I'll be happy to print it out and give you a copy because there's just so much that regulates all of us at the state level too, but it's really a huge burden at the local level.
There is.
The laws that they've put into place.
And I understand that. You know, I am a Class 2 water operator. I do have my water hauling business also, and we all water. You know, there's been times that I've been called and said, hey, why is WVT hauling water when you have a line break? They're not a certified, EPA certified water hauling company in the state of New Mexico. And I think y'all need to know that up front. You need to get them regulated through the EPA, and that's down out of Las Cruces, or they will get, you know, I mean, I've had to go through all that stuff. Like
Have you
when
talked to the local emergency managers about getting on a list to do that?
Right.
Yes, Johnny knows quite a bit about that. He knows what I do.
Yep.
And that's who would be contacting that. We don't reach out for that in public works.
But they can, the emergency
what the
managers
emergency
can, and we have one from the city too.
But
Antoinette is our
I have
city.
been contacted by the EPA that said, hey, what's going on up there? Why are they hauling water when they're not on our water list, our approved vendors, or approved?
Well, that would be for that business to make sure they take care of that.
Yeah.
But like I know we've used volunteer water services, like when we had our big fire out here, and that was completely
volunteered
within.
too. I do
within
a
the
lot of it.
emergency management type role. They have a list of who the resources are and what they can commit and everything. So if you talk to Johnny, you'll be on that list.
Well,
I know from the county.
when you start hauling potable water, they have a transient non-community water source, a community transient water source division. I mean, when you start hauling potable food grade stuff, you have to follow the rules.
Are you talking about when they were hauling it, like for instance, when we had
When the water break,
cut off to the city?
when the water break happens, you got to haul it to the hospital. You got to haul it to the jail. Make sure you got water tankers set up.
Right.
That right there, you better be following food grade standards.
The jail we didn't haul water to. We
Well-
actually did bottled water. We hauled non-potable for all the plumbing services because we didn't have the need for. It wasn't as big a
Now,
residency.
non-potable is a whole different deal.
Right.
Anybody can do that. I mean, you can haul it with a steel tank.
We did it with the road truck and backed it up to the back of the detention center. So
Perfect.
yes, I mean it's just creative
You know,
things. But
I-
Johnny will know a lot
I
more.
just got
and
back
Antoinette.
from working for FEMA in Louisiana. I mean, we do this for a living. That's my main living. I do the water well business when hurricanes aren't happening. I do the towing, mostly just pretty much help the community. And, you know, we have a lot of strenuous regulations. You think state level's bad? Deal with some FEMA guys.
Till
we have.
Deal with.
We have dealt with FEMA too.
Deal with the USDA,
Yeah.
the forestry folks out of California. They will teach you about water.
Okay.
Well, they're fun.
Thankfully, we don't have to deal with that here.
Right.
We don't have the.
I just have to
forestry
deal with the AWWA.
stuff.
Well,
That's enough. That's
so when you get on with with the city vendor list,
Yeah.
the state contractors list, and your JOC will be 3 years out.
I always encourage everybody to join CES.
Yes.
Cooperative education services. Also, anytime you can get on some kind of state contract, that really helps with that too. That's a lot of times those are the first places that we look.
No what?
State contracting. You do
So-
that through the general
Because you
services
cross all your
division.
barriers at that level, and then you're on the contract because you've done all your work to be on the contract.
So that's like the state. So that would put you on a contract statewide, right? So General Services Division, there's a very informative website. I mean, you can spend hours on there. So if you'll go on there, you can find out how it would be to set up as a vendor and go through all the necessary steps to get on there. But then if, say, they do a general, and I don't know how many water general contracts they have, but they have contracts for everything, automotive,
Yeah, GSA. is
air,
big.
you name it. And so if you can get on something like that, Cooperative Education, CES, is different. It's more specific to the schools, but then local governments are able to use it. So just so that you understand, it's like two different kinds of basically statewide contracts. So like if any school comes up with a need, so instead of having to go through a 60 or 90-day procurement process of doing writing the bid, releasing it, bringing in, evaluating, I mean, it's a very cumbersome process. CES has already done all the work, and so you are able to utilize those contracts that they've already put in place. So for hauling or for whatever it may be that the schools may need, that's what CES, their primary focus is schools, and then secondary local governments get to utilize those.
Cooperative education. Okay.
And they're online too.
All right. Well, I'll get to looking them up when we get on this stuff, so we can get.
I think it'll
maybe
help
we
you
can
as
get
a-
part of this deal.
A local
Absolutely,
business.
yeah.
Certainly.
We do prefer shop local as much as we possibly can.
Well, good deal. Well, I appreciate y'all. I'm glad we had this meeting this morning. I mean, it opens up a lot of things for people. You guys are doing great cleaning this deal up. I hope you.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
I hope you get some more of them cleaned up. You know,
We are working on it.
we got some in the county that we need cleaned up, but that's next. I hope so. Yeah, if we can build our cities back up and get it where it's nice to live here.
Yes.
You know, 40 years ago we had a beautiful town here. We've got to get some more stuff here. I hope y'all are really trying to draw that in.
Yes.
The first step is to get rid of our eyesores. You're doing a great job. Just keep it up, and
Well, in the county, it's not that easy. I will clarify.
I know.
The commission has always taken the stance that it's not zoned because it's your private property, so you do with it as you see fit. So the limitations are much more challenging out there. Now we do work closely with the EPA if we have some kind of sewage issue, that we've seen commonly with RVs that are parked at random or anything like that. But it's much more limiting in what we can do in that county because, again, it's very tough to start trying to embrace that. But if you have a feeling, definitely talk to your county commission because that's something ordinance-wise that we would have to look at. And I know we're looking at some things for illegal dumping, but we definitely, I would encourage you to have those. And our website has, I know you know who you are, but for our viewers, our website has all of the districts listed, and it has the contact information for every county commissioner. So you have their number, and you can get a hold of them for each one that's in those respective districts.
Well, I think y'all are on the right direction. I think everybody
you.
in town is starting to feel the same way, and let's just see how far y'all run with the ball.
Okay.
Well, thank you. Thanks for coming out.
Yes, thank you for coming out.
All right.
Okay, Mike Goodwin has a comment.
Okay.
It says, what about police dealing with known tweaker houses? They have known of a couple within a block of the high school for years, and they're still around. And he's asked neighbors who know, and he's asking what about the police.
Chief, Lieutenant, would you please join us for that?
Here, come sit over here. Here, you can have a microphone. I think it's yeah.
So the public concern is we have some known
Right.
drug houses, and do we have a plan in mind to mitigate that?
We have people working on many of the drug houses in the community. Unfortunately, to do it right, it's not a quick process because if we do it wrong, then we don't stop it.
Right.
So we have to make sure we follow, well, first off, the law so we do it right, because the last thing we want to do is do it wrong and reward those who are doing these things. And honestly, with state law, it's become even more difficult. But our investigators work hand in hand with the the sheriff's office investigators, and we're working on lots of those in the area.
Okay.
They just take time. And it takes time to do it right, which is the biggest thing we want
So
to
you
make
guys
sure.
are working towards it.
Yes.
And you have to be very careful in how you do it so that way we don't do it the wrong way and then you not solve the problem.
Right.
But you have stuff in the works and that's all you're at liberty to say at this time.
That's all I can say.
Well,
Okay.
and I think we could encourage, like, is there like the non-emergency line if they have a
Right.
tip or they have something that they want to
Yes,
share?
they can call the Crime Stoppers line. They can send us messages on Facebook.
Great.
They
And
just-
you are looking for Crime Stopper people to be on your board?
Yes, they are. Crime Stoppers is still around. COVID has put a dent in the activities of it. I believe Ms. Darla Reed currently is working on setting up a meeting for sometime in October to try to get it going, but they are in need of board members from the
Okay.
community. And like I said, there's just, and also kind of going back to those with tips, unfortunately, as many tips as we get, all we can do is look so far into those because the rules of evidence apply and it's called hearsay. So hearsay, we can't act on it in itself. All we can
Okay.
do is try to explore on that. So
Okay. Well, thank you, sir.
No
We
problem.
appreciate you.
That's also how great community involvement can get started. I
Yes.
mean, we definitely want people to pay
Yes.
attention and say something if they see something. We were
Right.
talking about that with illegal dumping and things along those lines too.
right,
So.
yeah. If the community, because you live there in that area, and if you're seeing things, because we can't be everywhere at once, so what we need is the community to be involved and give us the details of it, the times, the dates, vehicles, people,
Right.
descriptions, all of that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Because just telling us that there's a house over here that people are doing drugs or selling drugs in isn't enough for us to get anywhere other than to try to watch it. But then we can't spend all of our time watching one house either.
Right.
Because it is something that is not isolated to one specific area of the town.
Okay.
So, and then being part of a task force, sometimes it takes our agents to other areas in that task force because the task force extends Roosevelt, Curry, DeBaca, Guadalupe, and Quay counties. So
Big region.
it's a big region
Right.
that all of ours do. And I know the sheriff's office has one person assigned to it. We have one person assigned to it. Clovis Police Department, I'm not sure how many they have. Curry County, Santa Rosa, Quay County Sheriff's Office, all the different agencies in the area. So to work as a team with that, we have to spread our people out, and they're not just here. So,
Okay.
but it is a time-consuming effort to investigate any type of narcotics thing. So,
But the important thing is you are working towards it.
yes,
Okay.
we are.
Well, thank you. Thank you for that,
Thank
Chief.
you. Thank you.
Okay. Well, I think we have one more person. Hi.
Hi, my name is Deborah Matthews, One Cheek, and I just had a couple questions. The first one was, we spoke to you, Amber, before, or you had told us about the windmills on the fair, that there was a
You're the
plan to put
extension,
in,
right?
yes, extension, the homeschool group. I did superintendent at the fair booth this year, so I do a lot of things around. But there was talk of putting like a walking trail in around there so that we'd be able to see those that remain. Is there a timeline? I know there was stuff done out there with the drainage and things in that area, and I've heard from a few people were concerned with the drainage being near there that maybe the plan had changed and there wasn't going to be a walking trail to kind of view those things. Is that still in the plan? Is there a timeline of when that might be available to
Sure.
go through and view?
So what we actually did was reconfigure it, so even if we aren't able to get a trail inside, it's all along, and I don't know if you've seen the new configuration, but there's actually an L, and it's all along the fencing. We're working on some options, some grant options. We have several applicants that are out. We actually just received a Clean and Beautiful grant, and we're going to do some xeriscaping out there around the windmills themselves. So I know right now our special coordinator is working on getting some estimates together from some local vendors to kind of beautify that area and everything. But we've actually reconfigured them so that if we can't get the trail, because at this point everything's on the outside, so now we're figuring out how to kind of have like a path along, and we wrote for our grant to have signage and lighting. We really want to have a few of the historical aspects of each one of those that's out there on display and everything. So we have those pending. I don't know if they'll be funded or not, but we're working on those applications. The Clean and Beautiful I do know is there, and the Xeriscaping that we're going to be working on. So we do have those. But we have goals of new fencing to be able to just kind of really beautify that area and make it a little more visitor friendly instead of the chain link. The Cheryl that we work with is the safety aspect too, because we cannot have people in the Windmill Park unattended. Because they will inevitably climb. If somebody gets hurt, it becomes a liability for the county, and so it's very, we're very cautious about that because of the liability issues. But I know the drainage, we did a walkthrough with our project engineer and with the contractor last week, and they have a final punch list of the things that they're working on there. And so we're hoping that within the next month that project is wrapped up, or sooner.
And then the other question I had is, I know it's been talked about a lot of the legal dumping and stuff, and what you do on your property is your business and how much stuff you have outside of it. But at what point on a property, when you're getting close to that road line to where you're blocking the side of, say, when you come to a corner at a stop sign to turn, will the county step in and ask people to move their stuff back a little bit on those areas? And when it's repeatedly done, what actions can the county take to continue to let those people know that this is not going to be tolerated and needs to be kept back so it's not blocking the view when you're turning?
So first thing, do you have a specific location?
Yes, Bethel Highway and Roosevelt Road W.
Okay, so that one I'm very familiar with.
Yes.
That one's actually an issue with the State Department of Transportation. Okay. And our local road maintenance or planning GIS guy works very closely with DOT. And this has been an ongoing conversation for years.
Yes.
So there's a process, but again, that's in the state right away. And so we work closely with the Department of Transportation, but I would also encourage you as a resident constituent, the District 2 office for the district engineer, I can get you a general number
That would be great, yeah.
for that office, but if you would reach out to them too and let them know that that's a concern, and then I will also circle back around with our planner and let them know, because we're constantly battling that, and
I know
there's a
it's
lot of
all over
encouragement.
town.
So
It's not just there.
no, but
it
we
just,
took pictures, we sent it to DOT. I know that there's been letters issued and things along those lines, and DOT, it's a very lengthy process what they have to go through on anything like that. It's just like with anything how to do with private property. But it
And I
is a great
understand,
question. No, that's
jump
it.
on your property. I don't care if you want to keep it silent, but when it makes it hard to
Right.
turn, especially with
Safety.
the sun hits, sometimes with the trucks going, it gets hard. And
Certainly.
just builds and builds there. And I just didn't know what because I know you've heard about it. There's been I've been told contact the sheriff, and you mentioned different things, and it just continues to be more of a safety issue there. And the other thing is, I know you guys have talked about fairgrounds and some things that happened this last year with leaks and different things. Is there
With what?
With leaks in the buildings?
Oh, yeah.
They had I know it was new stuff put in, and we don't usually get rain, and you can't test stuff until we actually have it happen. But is there plans to really make sure that stuff is solid before this next year? I have a lot of people that set up booths, and they spend all week setting this stuff up and preparing it, and I just have to be able to reassure them that the stuff isn't going to be damaged. Like this year we had the library in there, and we had to move some of their books so that they weren't damaged at the time, and I just need to be able to fill those booths this next year, so I have to be able to reassure those people that I have volunteered to fill those that their stuff will not be damaged, and it's going to be a safe place for them to put the stuff for the week for people to
Certainly.
come through.
So we had a local contractor that was actually very creative to help us, because the struggle is those barns are so old that we could not find this. So these skylights were damaged in the snowstorm back in 2020. And so we tried to get things formulated. It's very unique, and I think they're like 1950s, 1960s. So the specific extreme pattern and grooves of the steel buildings are very hard to match. So Our local contractor was able to find those solutions. There were some issues on a couple of the systems themselves and the way they were installed and failures, but those have been addressed. And our maintenance monitors all of those. We just didn't have any rain in between the repair. We were trying to get everything done before, which it was so much better than not having
And we have
those repaired.
a large amount of rain that usually we don't get that much at a time. So I
We usually don't see
understand.
3 inches at a time, but
Yes.
yes, those have been addressed, and we're continuing to monitor those. So we've had a couple of rain showers after the fair, and we have not seen any of those things.
Another other issue that we did have there was stuff not even coming from the roof, but in through the door and the air conditioning on the floor in. I don't know if they've looked at those, and there's just, I'm assuming hail damage or just, they're old buildings, they have holes, just holes kind of in the front wall. Stuff did come in, and there was water, halfway down the aisles that made a safety issue of walking in the large puddles of water there as well.
Some of that we hope is actually being addressed with our drainage project. So we're just finishing our drainage project out there. We put in a very comprehensive underground drainage system at the fairgrounds. So now there are drop inlets, and there's one like in front of the pavilion. There's one down there between the Home Arts and the Hog Barn. There's another one at the end of the Poultry Barn on the back side of the facilities as well. So all those drop inlets now, the goal is that they're going to be able to take a lot of that water flow. The struggle that we see in town, just in Portales in general, is we're flat.
Yes.
And when we get that much rain, there is a lot of watershed that comes from miles. So we're trying to control the water from the grounds, but we're also taking water in outside the grounds from the
I
areas
understand that, seeing
around
it
and all of
downtown.
that. But we're also wanting to protect, we have Hampton Farms right there across Lime Street. We've got Lime Street that has a lot of flow and everything. And so we really want to take care of our watershed that we're not dumping out on our local business or the city. The city can only handle so much. And that railroad creates a natural, really a dam. It's unfortunate the way it is, and that the drains that they have right now that take that water underneath are just very small and aren't able to do the job for our project engineer. So we put in 3 holding ponds. Like I say, we really feel like that's going to address a lot. These buildings are older, and they're not meant to be watertight. So there's some of this that we're just not going to avoid when we have these unique rains. They used to be called the 1 in 100s, that you would have this once in 100 years. They seem to be much more frequent now than 100 years, because we've had 2 of them this year where we've gotten over 3 inches at the fairgrounds alone. And so we're going to continue to monitor, but we're going to have to test it too. So I know we began testing it with the rain right before the fair, and I know you'll probably have noticed like all 3 of those holding ponds were full. Yes. So those are the things that we've been putting into place. But again, some of these buildings like the Home Arts and the Merchants Building, they just aren't built to be watertight. And there's going to be some things that we're just going to have to work through as we go on. So thank you for volunteering and helping with those. It's a challenging situation, and those buildings are also hard to figure out how to invest in. They get used once a year. Right. And so with very limited resources, you have to evaluate what's your priorities with the roads and the detention center, public safety, those things. Yeah. Unfortunately, a lot of the quality of life stuff is moved further down. So it is on a 5-year plan. We have a master plan for the fairgrounds, but it's one of those that as we get funding, we're just going to continue
I just would
to
hate to
chew off a
see,
little bit.
it affect the fair, and 5 years from now have our fair almost be non-existent because those weren't done, because people come to that and say, I can't put my stuff in because I'm afraid it's going to get damaged, so I'm not going to enter stuff. And just as people age, entries go down naturally, and then if people don't have the faith in the building to keep their items safe, or in their business stuff that they're putting in there to showcase the community, then that takes it down, and it's just a big spiral when we already have people are not volunteering and helping and stuff anyways, and that just kind of adds to the bigger problem on it.
Well, thankfully, we're celebrating, what did we just celebrate, 110 years of our county fair?
Yes.
And so it's a long-standing tradition that I don't think this county would let go quietly. It's something that a lot of us have a lot of pride in, and we're involved in various levels, and have been for years and years and years. So thank you for your service. Completely understand the concerns, but I really do. I look forward to this drainage program because, again, we had a project engineer, and then we also had the water engineering oversight out of the state because we receive stormwater funding for that. So I'm really hopeful that we're going to see it alleviate some of these issues.
The other issue that I have come up is just scheduling with the county with different things, whether it's the building use or like we had at the fair, we were there having people come in and pick up entries and take down their booths, and there had been a miscommunication somewhere to where they were already grading the roads and had the tractors and the dirt and everything in there, and it seems like the past 3-4 years there's kind of been a major miscommunication on scheduling period with whether it's using the Jake Lopez or using the fairgrounds, just getting that information out to all the people that need to know it so that something isn't started or not finished on time, or a building's double booked or things like that. Have you recently done anything or trying to do anything to kind of improve the scheduling communication across?
So
I know there's a lot of people to get information.
That's
too.
a new thing that we've heard because I've never seen anything double booked that, to my knowledge, and I just started my 8th year at the county. So the extension office handles everything for the McAllister room.
Right.
So all that we see is the Jake Lopez, and everything is scheduled through administration. And there's one master calendar that everything goes on. So anybody that wants to utilize any kind of county facility goes through the administration office for everything out at the fairgrounds. And then if they utilize the Enterprise Center, if they utilize the Enterprise Center, then that's handled with the Community Development Corporation. They handle all of those as well. But the communication all goes through the fair president, so the fair board president and the county have those communications. And we've actually had really good communications with
when
them.
we were everybody was picking up entries that evening. We were supposed to, and they were like, well, we were told to start today, and it was actually the next day, but somebody opened the gate to let them in at some point because they couldn't just get in if the gate wasn't open, and we weren't there until later, so we hadn't opened the gate for them to start. So that was a big communication issue that we had with it being the end of fair, people coming with their kids to pick up all their entries. It was a little bit harder to get everybody to the buildings that they needed to, and that seemed like a large communication issue. They're just kind of among, because they're like, well, we were let in by the maintenance guy. Well, actually when we called the county and said, well, they're not supposed to start until tomorrow. We don't know why they're there, but they had definitely been there for several hours working at that time.
That was addressed. That it's in the past, and so there's not much that we can do besides learn from those kind of things. But that was addressed with the project manager as well as with the contractor. So
I just want to make sure stuff like that, was
sure.
to make
And
sure
the fair board was great. I worked with the fair board president, and we found workarounds and solutions to everything. So it was really a great collaboration.
And then the only other issue we've had is in the past when we have been able to use McAllister, especially for extension and stuff, we have some older ladies, and we've been able to have access to the restrooms in McAllister for our Extension Association meetings. Just in that evening, go across. Sometimes for our ladies, they're older to walk from McAllister across the parking lot into the back of the extension, especially in winter and stuff.
Those have been opened. So that should be an issue.
Open to where we can go through there now. Okay. And I know before, you guys had been meeting in there, so that was.
And during the renovations, we had to follow some safety protocols when they were redoing everything in the Jake Lopez, but those have all been addressed, and so that shouldn't be an issue.
So now when we meet in there, we're able, I can let the ladies know.
Patrick and his team just has to communicate with our maintenance and facilities director to let them know when they're in.
When we're in. Okay. All right. That sounds good. Thank you very much. I appreciate you guys taking this time to talk, and we appreciate you coming and doing a welcome.
Thank you
for our meeting. We really appreciated that, and the ladies enjoyed that.
They were good.
Thank you. Yes.
Thanks.
Well, I think that concludes our chat with the managers. We will be doing another one. We will post that when we decide when and where. I want to thank Amber for coming and joining me, and the Dewdrop Inn for their hospitality. This was a great. I think this was a great outcome. What do you think?
I do, and I think we've learned some things. I mean, obviously this first time, and Sarah had the great idea to bring it here locally and just try it. It's something that you know, sometimes you talk about things and you just don't see them through. So great job and kudos to you. We'll try different facilities. And I think there's definitely things, you know, we've had some people express some issues with hearing and the sound and things. And so I definitely think there's some things that we can do to enhance it. But overall, I think it's exciting to see that residents are coming out and having these conversations and communications, bringing up some great ideas, being willing to serve and volunteer and be part of a community and a county solution. So that's really exciting.
Yes.
And of course, Camille and her team here are fantastic hosts. So
Yes.
big shout out to Do Drop In.
Yep,
Thanks
I
to
agree.
them for this.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us.